In HTTP application, in Angular application, to test our HTTP application, we need a REST web service that returns the test data. So Angular provides in-memory web API using which we can create a REST web service that will return test data. So to use in-memory web API in our Angular application, first step is we have to install Angular in-memory web API, run the command from the root project of the command is npm I angular dash in memory dash web dash API and run this command. What will do this will add a library in our package.json and then download API in ng module. We got this version 0.19. I am using Angular 19. This was the first step. The second step is go to the configuration file. What we have to do is here that we have to configure in-memory web application module, use import providers from, and then configure in-memory web application module dot for root, and then we have to provide our test data, and we can configure optionally a delay if we require that our response should come after some delay. Then we can configure as a second parameter delay, and this is in millisecond. Here 3000 millisecond means 3 seconds. So the request we will get after the response for a request we will get after 3 seconds. This was the second step. We have to configure in-memory web API module using import providers from, and we have to import in-memory web API module from this file angular-in-memory-web API. Now the third step, we have to create our test data. To create a test data, we have to create a class and implement in-memory DB service. This is the in-memory DB service. Import it from angular-in-memory-web API. Now it has a method create DB. Override this create DB method and create your data that need to be returned when we hit the HTTP URL. This is our data. Suppose this is your writer details. Here this has the row as ID, name, city, one row, and I have created two rows. And the URL, we have to create the URL. Suppose this is writers key and value is writer details, this one. So our URL will be API / writers. I will show you. First let us know that this was the third step to create a test data. URL will be like this, API / API, and then the word we have used here in test data, here we have used writers, so our URL will be / API / writers. So you have to add API prefix with API and then the word you have used in the test data. If you want to create two data, you can create one more data here and then add like this other key and value. So and the URL will be prefixed with / API like this. So I have created here, I have created only one URL, that is / API writers. So let's use this URL, HTTP URL. This is our REST service that will return data. In my application, I have created two methods. One is get data by a field, that is city. Writer has ID, name and city. So by the city I am getting data. So the find writer by city, passing city, and then I am passing the URL API writers, and this way this will return the data according to the city. And this one is save writer. We will pass the data and this will save it. We can use the URL, and to get the data use get method, and to post the data use HTTP post method. HTTP is basically you have to inject HTTP client. Now I will test this date application. I have created a component here that will hit the HTTP request. Here I am printing the data. Let's see. We got the response after 3 seconds. Okay. In this way we can use in-memory web API in our Angular application for testing purpose. Okay, thank you.